Welcome back, everybody. It's a brand new episode of 5 Minute Majors. I'm your host, Derek Harper. Let's get right into it. There hasn't been too much breaking news, any really huge news, but the Wenatchee Wild have been wheeling and dealing. Obviously, Ty Frazier, he retired about a week ago, and so they had to look to figure out where the franchise is going to go in the future, how they're going to fix that hole. So they've made a few different moves. Um, two on Halloween night, and then another on November 2nd for three moves total. They made a deal with the Victoria Royals, with the Regina Pats, and the Edmonton Oil Kings. So they're bringing in some talent. Draft picks are involved as well. I have full confidence Bliss is going to get that team going in the right direction. I know they're struggling, but you got to think Wenatchee was dealt a lousy set of hands. That Winnipeg team went all chips in to win that championship. Unfortunately, they came up short to the Seattle Thunderbirds. But so then they had all that talent coming over to the Wenatchee side of things, and they had to trade away some of those stars to kind of replenish the cupboards because they were left with like no picks almost. So, as we see with these players, with the ever-changing roster and the competitive division, they're toward the bottom of the West, but it's just how things roll. And I'm sure in the next few years they'll start climbing and their rebuild will get stronger and stronger. So see what happens there. As per usual, the CHL's top 10 rankings are out. Interestingly enough, this week we saw four teams in both the OHL and the Quebec League, with only two in the WHL, the Prince George Cougars and Everett Silvertips. Moncton Wildcats led the way in the QMJHL. Drummondville Voltigeurs at two, with Rimouski Oceanic, who is hosting this year's Memorial Cup. They are checking in at eight, and excuse me if I butcher this one with the Quebec names up there. Chicoutimi Saguenayes. They checked in at 10. Over in the OHL, last year's Memorial Cup host, the Windsor Spitfires, they checked in at 3. London Knights at 4. London is always a really great team year in and year out. It seems that they are winning their league almost every year. It's just crazy. The Kitchener Rangers at 7, and the Niagara Ice Dogs at 9. Like I said, the WHL saw Everett and Prince George check in. Everett at 5 and Prince George at 6. So a lot of talent there. Obviously, I think one of the surprises a little bit this season after making a run, well, two surprises rather, after making a run to the WHL Championship, both the Portland Winterhawks and Moose Jaw Warriors haven't cracked the rankings. I mean, they just seem to be struggling a little bit. Brandon's one to keep your eye on, obviously, but that injury to one of their best players, that could really badly impact them. So we'll see how they handle that. But Moncton, they checked into top spot after a 6-game point streak. So big deal for them. Kitchener, they're currently in the middle of their longest point streak in the CHL at 14 games. So Chicoutimi, they also made the rankings as they're currently riding a 6-game winning streak. Interesting little tidbit there. But in Drummondville, they moved up a spot in the rankings this week, as they're just one of three teams in the CHL with 13 wins so far this season. So big deal. It seems that there's a lot of talent. The teams in the QMJHL and the OHL are better this year than the WHL, but we'll see come playoff time. But my pick right now, honestly, might be the Moncton Wildcats that come out of the QMJHL. But like I've kind of said, you cannot count out those London Knights. I mean, London is always a very, very powerful team. Kitchener, they're usually a solid team. We'll see what happens there. Everett and Prince George, Landon DuPont. You can't count those guys out either. So I think we're just going to see a very, very interesting playoff once the regular season wraps up here in the spring. But just definitely something to keep your eye on there, and we'll keep you updated on any other happenings, especially with all these trades that we've seen from Wenatchee. But until next episode, I'm Derek Harper.